Hi, my name is Jared with Care to Change Counseling. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and therapist here at Care to Change. And today I'm going to be talking about stress management skills, specifically 7 steps and 7 tips to go through stress management so that you can be able to cope with a lot of the stresses in your life, that you can be able to gain some control back and be able to get through stressful times and stressful situations. I'll go through each of the 7 steps and kind of break them down and talk about each of them separately, and then have kind of a conclusion on the end of this. The first step to managing stress, and the most important to initially address the stress that you're feeling in your life, is to recognize and name your feelings. Label those specific emotions that you're feeling. When it comes to stress reactions, we're not just feeling stress in our head, we're also feeling stress in our body. So stress has a full bodily reaction that is going to cause a wear and tear in our body, and it's something that we need to address wholly, not just with our mind. Now, emotions, contrary to thoughts, are often ways that our body is trying to communicate with us. There's something that is going on within our body that it wants to tell us so that we can understand the state of our body. To understand where our body's at, we need to be able to label and validate those emotions that we're feeling. So sometimes you feel nervous, sometimes you feel anxious or frustrated, sometimes you feel let down. Any of those emotions are just ways that your body's trying to communicate how you're feeling in that moment. And the first step to being able to manage that stress you're feeling is label those emotions. If it's hard for you to identify what specific emotion you're feeling, or you have a hard time being able to pin down the specific emotion that you have, it could be helpful to go online and find all kinds of tools to label emotions. There's lists of emotions that you can download and pick from. And my favorite tool is something called a feelings wheel or an emotions wheel, which is a circular diagram that has a bunch of different emotions and feelings words on them that usually breaks down from the most basic emotional experiences we have, happy, sad, angry, surprised, afraid, and then it gets more specific from there. So have that tool handy with you, be able to label those emotions, because once you're able to label them, then you can understand how your body's feeling and begin to address that stress. The second step is to focus on what you can control in the situation. Many times when we're feeling stressed, especially extremely distressed, that tends to come from a situation where we have very little control, or we feel like the situation is something happening to us instead of something that necessarily we're causing or we're wanting to be in. And so our body, the stress reaction that our body responds to is a threat to us that we can't control. The only way our body is able to control a situation as far as our biological stress response is concerned is either to fight through it or to run away from it. In many instances, we're not able to do either of those things in a stressful situation. So our body doesn't get any control to be able to manage that specific instance that we're in. So what's helpful to not get too overwhelmed and to not lose control of the situation is to find what you can control. If there are little details, if there are little preferences, little decisions that you can make, things that can lighten the load just a little bit, take those steps and assert whatever control that you can in that situation, no matter how small, to give yourself that grip and to allow your body to be able to respond to that stress in some way. If part of that control is, say, giving yourself a 5-minute break and then returning to the thing that's making you feel stressed, so be it. If it's controlling very minute details of things in the situation, whatever you can do to exert that control is going to help you to be able to manage the stress in that time, even if it's just a little bit. The third step to stress management is eliminating toxic influences. So there's a lot of things that when we're feeling stressed are actually perpetuating that stress that we're experiencing in our life. Common things that could be toxic to us in a time of stress is like social media or media in general. If we're feeling stressed about, say, current events or things going on in the news, continuing to watch that or continuing to let that information be presented to you is going to cause that stress to continue. It's going to keep it going in your mind and in your body. And then you're never going to be able to manage or relieve yourself of that stress if that's what you're feeling. Now, it's not always possible to get away from some of the things that cause us stress, but if you know that it's a toxic influence, you should take every step you can. Say, for instance, there's a big event going on right now. I know we just recently, and they're still kind of going through the COVID virus time. And if that's causing you stress and you feel very stressed about that, it's not possible to get out of this situation, but it is possible to take breaks from media and to take breaks from instances that maybe make us feel stressed. So take several hours, maybe a day, to be away from your phone, to be away from the TV, to be away from others and conversations that talk about that, so your body can be able to manage that stress and calm down before you need to get back into that situation and address it again. If it's something that you can live without, something that you can let go of for good that's only been causing you stress, say there's some chore that you've been needing to do around the house and it's really hard and it's not an easy thing to do, but once it's over, it's over. Push through it and get it done. Or maybe it's something that you're holding on to. Maybe some item around the house that is really hard to part with, but you know that the right decision is to get rid of it, but it's causing you so much stress. Just take that step of getting rid of it and eliminating it from your life. Because once you do, it's going to quit perpetuating that stress that you're experiencing in your daily life. The next step is to create healthy routines. So because stress is both a reaction to our brain and to our body, we need to be able to take care of ourselves with good behavior that's going to help both our mental health and our physical health. So some of these things could be like making sure you get enough sleep at night. Sleep is a big stress relief for many people. And so making that time, cutting that out of your schedule, maybe you need to shorten other things in your day to make sure that you get plenty of sleep at night. Or maybe, every other night you need to skip a certain activity so that you can get plenty of sleep. Maybe you need a plan for a day on the weekend where you just kind of take naps on and off again to catch up on sleep. Whatever's going to be helpful for your sleep health in that time is important to be able to manage the stress you're going through. Other steps could be just drinking more water, going for more frequent walks or exercising, spending time with friends. Social health is honestly something that we tend to neglect a lot when we're feeling very stressed because it's hard to be around others when we're struggling with that time. But if you are feeling stressed, sometimes it is good to find that connection with others. Maybe strike up a conversation with a coworker or a friend or someone that you haven't talked to in a while, just to have something on your mind that isn't necessarily related to that stressor and gives you some of that support that you need, which kind of rolls us into our next one. Support and connect with others is our next step. Find that connection with other people because other people are where we drive a lot of our energy and support from. Human beings are social creatures. We're meant to have connection with others. And oftentimes, like I just said, we tend to neglect those relationships when we are feeling stressed. Or sometimes we rely too much on some relationships and not enough on others. So look at your social circle and see who has the ability to support you in this time. Maybe you and your significant other or you and a coworker who's going through the same stressful time don't really have what it takes to support one another. Then you want to look out in your social circle to see who can support you. Maybe another family member who's going through a pretty easy time right now, or another friend. Or maybe there's someone in the community, like a pastor or other religious leader that you can talk to be able to talk about your stress and get things off your chest. However you can, reach out to others. There are also plenty of online resources for, crisis support and other places that you can go to that will just hear you out. They'll just listen to you, and they're available like 24/7. I know the crisis text line at 741-741 is a 24/7 text line that anyone can reach out to for any number of situations. If you just need to talk, you can do that. And that again leads us into our next point, which is reach out for help. If that stress that you're experiencing has been causing you extreme distress, if it's beginning to cause biological problems, you're beginning to feel exhausted, you can't keep up with your responsibilities, it's feeling overwhelming, or you're just stuck and you have no idea how to move forward, talk to someone who's there to help support you. This could be as small as going to a friend that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, going to a family member, maybe a parent or a child if you have adult children, and being able to ask for that support and help. If the concern is more serious, reach out to a professional, talk to a counselor. You can feel free to email our helpline at help@caretochange.com or call into our main line at 317-790-9396 so that we can consult with you and see if we can get you hooked up with the resources that you may need. Or go out to other resources, talk to community leaders, talk to other professionals in the community. Just reach out if you need that help because there are people here to support you. And even if you feel alone, there's always someone that you can go to. And then our final point is to remember where to find true peace from. In times of stress, we tend to be so involved in the world and so focused on ourselves and focused on our own life that we forget about the bigger purposes that our life has. For instance, we tend to neglect our faith with God. For those of us who have that identity with God and are Christian, that when we're under times of stress, we forget about him and forget about our devotion to him and centering our lives on him, and remembering all that he's done for us. So if you find yourself in a really stressful situation, especially when you're trying to manage all that stress, remember that you can go back to focusing on God and trusting in him and relying on him for your needs so that he can help give you the tools that you need to get through this stressful time instead of trying to rely on it on your own, which might be difficult for you, especially if you don't have the resources to manage that stress. If you have any questions or if there's any more information you want about stress management, any skills or tips or tricks that you would like to know, feel free to email us or call us at those contact information that I presented earlier. Feel free to reach out to anyone. You can contact us through our website as well, that is caretochange.org. And if you, like I said, have any questions or need any further support or information, you can reach out to us at this time. I thank you for watching this video and for listening to this. Hopefully this has given you some practical tools to help manage stress in this time. And hopefully that you're going to be able to get through the tough times that you're experiencing in your life, because no matter how hard of a time you're going through, there is always another side to it, even if it seems impossible or like it's not going to happen for a while. So I hope that you're able to hold on to that hope to be able to endure through your situation and find that support that you need.